Speaking of new things, we have somebody waiting to get on.
Oh, okay.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And let me introduce him. He's the first man to challenge Big Pharma and government with news from embalmers finding white fibrous blood clots causing deaths of millions in the United States and around the world. Please welcome, all the way from Ohio, Tom Haviland. Hi, Tom. I'm here with JP. I'm here with my wife, Lisa. And I'm here with a all-knowing State Representative, Don Nayue.
Well, nice to meet you all. I've met all of you before, except for Don. And Don, you may not have seen what I've shown Dave and JP and Lisa before.
I don't know if it's what you have, but I've seen these videos before. In fact, there was somebody, and it might have been you, who had put this collection of these things from the coroners. Yeah, exactly. And then them actually videotaping them taking this out of people's veins.
Fibrous.
You got it right. And they're not only being taken out of corpses, actually, they're being taken out of living people as well. What's called cath labs. Here's an even more spectacular one. Take a look at this one, gang.
Oh my God.
This is about 5.5 inches long and about 1/2 inch wide. It was taken out of the abdominal aorta. It's one of the largest blood vessels in the body. So these things are really deadly. They're causing strokes and heart attacks.
Yeah.
And what's unfortunate is in my latest survey that completed in December, 83% of the embalmers responding, 250 of the 301 embalmers responding, are still seeing these white fibrous clots in a shocking 27% of their corpses, Don. These things are not rare. These things are quite prevalent.
Yeah.
So I've tried my best to inform the CDC, FDA, and NIH over the years. And I'm so happy now that we have a new regime in there. You know, we've got Bobby Kennedy now at HHS, Jay Bhattacharya at NIH, Dr. Marty Macri at FDA.
And hopefully Jeff Nick's getting on board with who's coming on next, by the way.
Well, then it was Anthony Fauci's wife was still working at NIH. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, did you see where Bobby Kennedy actually, he's paring down the number of people working under the HHS from, I think, about 80,000 employees down to 60,000. I think 10,000 of them voluntarily retired, and he's firing another 10,000. So he's taking it down by about 25%. You know, and this is an indication. A lot of people think that, okay, the leaders may have been corrupt at these organizations, but maybe the people at the lower levels were good. Well, I'm not cutting the people at the lower levels that much slack because
who hired them?
Exactly. And they still have the opportunity to speak up. You know, when I was at Air Force, I was a defense contractor working at Wright Pat Air Force Base, and I had 4 or 5 levels of bosses above me. And I still spoke up and said, I'm not going to take the shot when the vaccine mandates came out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's not an excuse to say I was just following orders and those people stayed silent. So I'm glad, I'm happy that a lot of them are getting canned because I think we need new people in there with a new vision.
Yeah, the Department of Defense, the number of kids that they subjected to this experimental treatment and ended up causing deaths. I mean, there's so many deaths that by 18-year-old kids having heart attacks during, after getting the shot. They were perfect health, got the shot, and then went out on training regimen and had a heart attack.
You're finding that, correct?
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, gentlemen. It's not just these white fibrous clots. It's miscarriages. It's myocarditis. It's nerve damage, turbo cancers. In fact, Dave, every time I look at the literature, every week something new comes out. You know, in the last month since we last talked, and during the month of March, for example, all over the world, papers are coming out, scientific papers. A team of 19 researchers from Germany just published a peer-reviewed study on the 25th of March that links the COVID mRNA vaccines to the onset of cancer and autoimmune disorders like leukemia and brain tumors. And that was published in the Molecular Systems Biology Journal.
This stuff is still banned, though. I mean, YouTube, for example, probably is going to ban this. I don't know.
There's still a suppression in there getting the word out. That's what's crazy about this.
Does that too?
Yeah.
And there are new warnings on Big Pharma I think that Big Pharma is now having to contribute what horrors these shots can give. And I read it somewhere where they're warning about heart attacks and brain damage and all sorts of things.
Yeah, remember what happened?
It's a little too little too late.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's too little too late because 5.5 billion people on the planet took at least one of these jabs, and they took a total of 13 billion with the B jabs, about 2.5 per person. So it's a little late now to be talking about safety problems after the people have already been injected. So, you can't take it out.
Are we talking about we're talking about an artificially made disease, basically, done in a Wuhan lab, right?
Yeah.
And we've got people all over the world taking this. Is this a conspiracy? Is there a conspiracy of people that did this for the reason of lowering the amount of people in the world? Is it that?
We can't say for sure. We can't say for sure, but there are indications. It appears that first of all, the Americans, the Russians, and the Chinese have been working on bioweapons research for decades.
Yeah.
The Soviets, for example, were actually looking very closely at blood clotting agents. So it's not a surprise that maybe SARS-CoV-2 has some inserted, engineered Russian what they call open reading frames. It's called ORF for short, an open reading frame that was intentionally inserted into the virus to give it blood clotting capabilities. There's also open reading frames that can code for to avoid the immune system, to evade the immune system, also to make the virus replicate faster. And it appears from research that's been done that this may have been what happened, that actually this virus was engineered and these special ORFs, open reading frames, were inserted into the virus to make it replicate faster, evade the immune system better, and also actually promote blood clotting and other problems. So this and the problem with that, Dave, is we think that maybe those same nefarious open reading frames got into the vaccines as well.
Wow. So the everyone's heard of Hanlon's razor, where it says never attribute to malice that which is adequately explained by stupidity. Well, I've changed that slightly. It says never attribute to a conspiracy what can easily be explained by good lobbying. And this is what we experience at the federal level. For the first time in history, the amount of money spent on lobbying in Washington, D.C., whenever Pfizer and the rest of them were excluded from being sued over this thing, and then all the money that went into it subsequently, the money that Big Pharma was spending up in Washington, D.C. exceeded the amount of money spent on defense-related things.
Yeah, I believe that.
And that's never happened before. And I forget the number exactly, but I'll just exaggerate for effect.
Well, let's
it was
go
like
back
4
to
times that.
The population thing you mentioned, let's talk a little bit more about that because first of all, in highly vaccinated countries that were COVID vaccinated, we've seen an average of about 10% plus excess mortality over the last 4 years since 2021. Now, interestingly, in countries in Africa, which have very low uptakes of the jab, they have no problems with excess mortality the last 4 years.
And hydroxychloroquine they took regularly.
Exactly. Well, and that could help too. Yes. And what's interesting is just recently I went ahead and I did some research in my own local Ohio area in terms of looking at county coroner's reports. And your audience may want to do this for themselves. Maybe go out on the web and take a look at your particular county and see what the county coroner reports were for the last 10 years. In my own county of Greene County, Ohio, for example, I looked from 2015 through 2024 at the county coroner reports, the annual reports. And I wanted the years 2015 through 2019, pre-pandemic, to kind of get an average of the number of people that died in my county per year. And it was about 1,100 people per year died in my county of Greene County per year. But starting in 2020, with the year that we had the COVID but no vaccines yet, that jumped up to about 1,500, and it has stayed at 1,500 since that time, all the way through 2024. So that's an increase of about 33%, from a jump from 1,100 to 1,500 dying a year. Now, if the vaccines were working well, then maybe the first year of COVID, you would have seen an increase before the vaccines came out. Then that number should have dropped way back down to the 1,100 again.
Sure.
So I also then went to another county, Cuyahoga County, which in Ohio, which encompasses Cleveland, Ohio, with a population of about 1.3 million people. And they've every year from 2015 through 2019 had an average of about 14,000 people dying in their county per year. And starting in 2020, it jumped to 16,000. It was about a 15% rise. Stayed 16,000 in 2021. But then suspiciously, there's no more coroner reports for 2022, 2023, and 2024 on their website. Wow. What do you think happened there? I think that they saw the bad writing on the wall, that the vaccines are causing deaths, a tremendous rise in deaths in their county, and they've stopped reporting them. So right. I encourage your audience to go look at your own particular county websites and see what you find out from your coroner's reports, and see if you see an increase in deaths starting in 2020 and 2021 going forward.
Yeah, I'm accepting that explanation that there's something wrong. What I'm trying to get at is, was this preconceived based on theories like the Montague, I think it's Montague in 1798, where he said there's too many people on the earth and we don't have enough food to take care of them.
That was Thomas Malthus, as you're talking about. Yeah, and we know that Bill Gates and the Rockefellers, a lot of people, Klaus Schwab,
with a lot of power,
into this Malthusian ethics. They're into this. There's too many people, not enough resources, and there's a hint that they want to get rid of the population. Us, the peons, right?
Not them. They ain't taking it.
But there's another good old-fashioned motive as well, right, Dave? Money, right? These drug companies are making billions, hundreds of billions of dollars on this.
Exactly.
Yeah.